with the Arduino Uno and a breadboard. Ooh, not that. We're gonna start with an Arduino Uno and the breadboard. So let's load in everything we're gonna need. So we're gonna need our motor. Come on. Get a servo, rotate it, get another one, and then we're also gonna need a gonna need an LED. And we're gonna flip that also. Then we need a here we go. This, our potentiometer. And we will put that into the side for now. So yeah, that's our setup. So first, let's connect our power and our ground. So we're gonna get that from the 5-volt and the ground, and just connect that to those parts of the breadboard, and change the color. All right, now let's set up our analog pin, which is just gonna be from A1. We'll connect that here, make it orange. And now we can connect our digital pins to the motor. So yeah, the analog pin is just kind of like the physical world telling the computer what's going on. And we're connecting the digital pins to the signal of the motors. So basically we can write the signal to the digital pin that sends it to the motor, which reads the value and then rotates however many degrees. So we're just gonna use these pins, connect it to the signal. Same thing here. Just connecting it to the signal. And now we're just gonna get our power from the Arduino. Same thing with the ground. Because the power and the ground from the Arduino flow this way, so it's just gonna go to them. And now we're gonna want, I'm gonna sneeze. So we're gonna take our digital pin again. Again, we just need it to write that output to whatever we're controlling. And we're gonna connect that to the silly end of the LED, the anode. And the other end of it is just gonna go to the ground. So this can be orange, and we can just move this, I guess. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So yeah, now we're gonna need our ground and our power to run through our potentiometer. So let's get our, this is here, let's get our power and our ground and plop our potentiometer right there. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is include our servo, so the Arduino knows what we're talking about. So we're going to do that by writing include servo.h, and then it's going to know that we're dealing with a servo. So the next thing we have to do is make a servo object so that we have something to control it with, and that is going to look like servo my servo. Next, because we have two motors, we just need to do that again so that we have two of them. And now we're going to connect our pins to the light. So we're going to initiate LED pin 10 and connect it to the 10th digital pin. And that's what that looks like. I'm going to initiate the pin, connect it, and then we have to initiate a value and our analog pin so that it can read the value from the potentiometer. So the potentiometer is going to be the analog pin. Just setting up that. And then, like I said before, we need a variable that can store the value and then rewrite it to the servo later so it gets communicated. So we write that, initiate the variable or the value. And then we need that for each motor and then the LEDs. And that is all of them. And that is it for our global scale. And now for the void setup, first thing we have to do is actually attach the motors to the pins. So we want to attach the servo motors to the digital pins and then the LED pin as the output for the, just set the LED pin as the output for the value. And that's what that looks like, just attaching the servos and then LED output. Okay, so now getting into the actual void loop, first thing that we need to do is set up the reading of our analog pin, getting the input from our potentiometer. And then once we have that value that is derived from the position that the potentiometer is set to, we remap it from its original scale of 0 to 1023 to 0 to 180. And now for the next one, because it's going to be going in the opposite direction, instead of scaling it from 0 to 180, we switch it from 180 to 0. And then the same thing with the LED pin. It works with different numbers, so we're going to scale it from 0 to 255 to represent its brightness. And then once we have the value actually scaled and in the right form to be output, we have it right to the value and the servo that sets the position, and that is my servo.write with the values. And then we just delay 50 milliseconds so that it knows what's going on. And then it writes the LED pin also and turns that on.